Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chasing Shenmue, episode 1. I almost pronounced that wrong. Chasing Shenmue.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
It is. It's a bit difficult.
Shenmue.
Tonight, here at the Faux Pop station, we have a little bit of a special, first time on our new set.
Our new set.
Yeah, here in the Faux Pop station. And we have a special edition of Chasing Shenmue, episode 1, because we have none other than
Adam Sipione with us. And you might say, well, big deal. Adam Sipione, he's from Goderich.
Yeah.
So, big deal that you have Adam with you. But
in Goderich with us, which is where we are.
We're in Goderich, Ontario, Canada.
That's right.
But Adam Sipione, he is in a whole other day.
He's in another day. He's in tomorrow.
He's in tomorrow.
He's in the future. Adam Sipione is in the future, ladies and gentlemen. He is currently somewhere in Japan.
Somewhere in Japan.
Adam, where are you?
I am in Toshima, Japan, right off of Ikebukuro Station.
And Adam, what are you doing in Japan?
Well, I'm here for multiple reasons. One of the main ones is I'm shooting some stuff for A Gamer's Journey, the definitive history of Shenmue. And I'm also seeing the sites, meeting the people, and yeah, just doing a whole bunch of cool Shenmue-related stuff.
So, Adam, you have a unique opportunity, or had a unique opportunity, I guess you're experiencing that right now, to take part in, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is something to do with the Kickstarter campaign that happened for Shenmue 3 that allowed certain backers to come to Japan to spend some time with Yu Suzuki. Sorry, another tongue twister.
Suzuki.
Yeah. And so you get to take part in this and be part of this.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So what happened there was one of the, I should say 3 of the top tiers for the Shenmue Kickstarter were for $10,000, and I got them a whole slew of perks and rewards and stuff. One of the big draw that attracted those people to claim that perk was a dinner with Yu Suzuki, the creator of Shenmue, and a few developers of the game, and that also included a guided tour of certain areas of Japan that were that kind of inspired the first 2 games. So we did that this past Friday, and that was an amazing experience. And for me, obviously I wasn't one of the $10,000 backers, but I was the +1 of a guy named Peter Campbell, who is from Belfast, and he was nice enough to bring me on as his guest. And just that whole Kickstarter dinner tour and just everything else we've done on this trip has been, for someone like me who's a huge Shenmue fan, it's been absolutely unreal.
No doubt. And take us back. This is the first episode. Some people are probably wondering what Shenmue is and why somebody like you would go all the way to Japan to meet Yu Suzuki and to do all of this stuff. Why don't you back up a little bit and take us through a little bit of that?
All right, so let's see. Let's jump back 15 or 16 years. So during the days of the Dreamcast, there was a video game developer in Japan whose name was Yu Suzuki, and he was really well known in the gaming industry, especially in Japan, for games that he created like Outrun, Space Harrier, Afterburner, Hang On. If you lived in Japan and you frequented a lot of Sega arcades, you would see his games everywhere. And shortly after that, Yu Suzuki created a groundbreaking fighting game called Virtua Fighter. And a lot of people may remember Virtua Fighter as one of the first 3D one-on-one fighting games that kind of revolutionized the fighting game genre in the Japanese arcades. So because of all this, Sega wanted a brand new IP that was going to blow, the other console competitions out of the water. And they gave that job to Yu Suzuki. They wanted to make a Virtua Fighter RPG. So starting from that base model and going forward, that eventually became Shenmue. And that game, it won the hearts and minds of quite a number of fans, but unfortunately not big enough to warrant a third game or to put it in that spotlight. So to make a long story kind of short, the first 2 games are released, and then, well, am I going too far ahead, guys?
No, this is good. This is good.
A good picture here?
Yeah, no, this is good. And it's a nice little synopsis, and I think those that have no idea are finding this fascinating.
Yeah, it's you can never really do an elevator pitch for Shenmue. There's just so much to include, especially why it's significant. But to go back to what I was saying before, the first 2 games came out around 2000, 2001, And for about 15 years, there was just silence. The second game ended on a cliffhanger, and yeah, for 15 years, just like this diehard group of fans kept this game alive through like forums and on like different websites and stuff.
So,
And,
so basically, sorry to cut you off, Adam. So it's basically
No.
you're talking some pretty early open world RPG games in terms of like we're all used to seeing that in the post PlayStation era, but you're talking Dreamcast is like kind of before the first PlayStation. That's a big deal, but maybe not widely known in the the modern gaming community, I guess you could say. But there's definitely a hardcore underground following for this, right?
That's exactly right. So a lot of people like to credit the first truly open world game as Grand Theft Auto 3, which you may remember for the PlayStation 2, I believe it was, and that game was a huge success. But prior to that, like I said, a couple years before, this game called Shenmue came out, and it featured an open world environment where you basically had free roam over certain areas, like different towns and different spots. You could talk to anybody. Everyone was fully voice acted, so there was somebody doing the voice for each individual character. You could go inside any house, talk to anybody, interact with different things. Each of the NPCs had a day and night cycle. Like you could follow one person from their home, and then they would go to work, and they would run errands, and then they would go back home at a certain time. It wasn't just all procedurally generated. This world was just so big and so detailed. And,
which again is remarkable because like when you think of games like Skyrim and World of Warcraft, like we go, oh well, of course it's day, it's night, it's everything like this. But even to like the non-gamer, they totally understand that as well. Of course you can do that, but we're talking how many years before any of this happened, and also it's unique because it was almost culturally accurate. Am I right? It's actually steeped in reality. It's steeped in a real world scenario, almost like a crime drama happening in Japan and China. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. The game took place in Yokosuka, Japan, and one of the streets that you play on during the first few discs of the game is called Dobuita Street, which, funny enough, we'll save the story for later, but we actually ended up going all the way to Yokosuka to Dobuita on a Shenmue pilgrimage, which is basically like following the footsteps of the main character. But yeah, no, it was very detailed. It was set in real life Japan, and even little things like the weather. The developers would pull up weather data from 1986 Yokosuka, Japan, and program that into the game. So if it was like Tuesday, the 17th of January, 1986, the weather in game was the weather that was happening at the time. It was way too ambitious.
Right, of course, like we're saying for the time. And let's for a second here, Mark, let's segue into talk a little bit about and tell the people at home if they don't realize. Okay, so Adam's off in Japan. He's working on a project about Shenmue, the video game, but this is part of a much bigger thing that's happening right here at Philpop and Definitive Films, right?
Yeah, so the Definitive History of series that we've been working on, and Isaac is a partner in that. Turtle Power being the first one we released 2 years ago now. And we're working on a number of documentaries, of which one is Shenmue. And the interesting thing is Adam had started this documentary, early last year, January of last year. Is that about right, Adam?
Yeah, I would say December, January of last year.
January of 2015. And you had started shooting it, and we didn't know a whole lot about Shenmue at the time. And I can remember Isaac and I were in Texas, June of 2015. And we got a call from Adam. And something happened around that time. Adam, do you want to fill us in on what happened then that really made this property and this story even that much more exciting?
We are talking the famous E3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
like everybody I've ever talked to who's a fan remembers where they were during that day. But so what happened was E3 2016 was going on. Shenmue fans everywhere. It was 50-50. Are we going to see anything about Shenmue 3, or is it just going to be nothing? Myself included, I kind of gave up hope on the IP ever becoming a reality, like in 2011. Like I kind of made my peace with it. And during the Sony press conference, a lot of really good games are getting announced. And then all of a sudden, right after the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer, the screen goes black. and then the very first note you hear is like the opening theme of the Shenmue game. And you see a leaf drop, which is like a very iconic image. And as soon as that happened, people like around the world like lost their minds. Like they were freaking out. And then Yu Suzuki walked on stage and said, "I'm starting a Kickstarter campaign. We want to make Shenmue 3." And I guess now that happened, so many people know what Shenmue is. You ask, the casual gamer who never heard of Shenmue before, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that game that broke records on the Kickstarter."
Exactly.
And as
it broke its record in 24 hours, $2 million in under 24 hours.
That's right. And as it was breaking records, that was like you were saying, we were in Texas at the time.
Yeah.
And that really kind of, Adam was already working on the documentary.
Adam was already working on that documentary,
but that definitely solidified it for Randall and Mark and myself. And unfortunately, Randall couldn't be here tonight. He's feeling under the weather. It really solidified it for us to say, okay, let's do a doc and really focus on, which we started shooting in earnest pretty much right after that. And amongst our other docs on Conan the Barbarian, He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and another Turtles, Ninja Turtles one we're working on right now. But then, of course, fast forward to now, here we are, and Adam gets to go to Japan and kind of work on the doc a little bit. Tell us, Adam, are you working as much as you're obviously living the dream and just tour in Japan, and as a fan, are you also doing a little bit of work for the doc as well, or?
Oh, of course, yeah. I brought all my stuff. I just did an interview earlier with Eric Kelso, who's a voice actor for the game. He does a few characters. I did a few things that I don't think I could quite disclose, but I brought my camera too.
Well, we have to have some surprises.
I brought my camera along. I just happened to have it with me, and I was given the opportunity to get some really cool footage. And yeah, when we went on the Shenmue pilgrimage, myself, Peter, and Alexander, who lives in Japan, he's actually from San Diego. He's another Shenmue fan. He flew out here to meet us, and we kind of went on the Shenmue pilgrimage together with the two other brothers who donated for the Kickstarter, and we basically documented our journey from like point A all the way to Yokosuka Dobuita. We did we were pointing out the areas in the game that were reflective of what we were looking at, and that was just a wicked day. Like we got all that on camera, so that was amazing.
Great assets. I'm excited. I'm hearing all this for the first time as is Mark. So we're going, well, good. At least Adam's doing something for the doc, not just totally
I'm doing the whole plan. This is the only day I'm not working. I've been shooting every single day, and today's my kind of downtime.
We knew you were going to get something, but it's great to hear that you're getting some really good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's, enough about that per se. I mean, we could talk about that, and we'll go into more detail on another podcast, but let's just talk about your journey so far. What has it been like for you? And, is it beyond your imagination, what you imagine?
Well, Tokyo, I mean, it's unreal. I didn't know what to expect. But Tokyo's been a blast. I've seen a lot of the area here. But yeah, the big thing, other than the dinner and tour with Yu Suzuki, I don't know, I guess we could talk about the whole pilgrimage. And that was pretty amazing, because the area we went to is just so radically different than what we're used to in Tokyo, with lights and people and just like the chaos 24/7.
Us country boys from, well, actually Adam's from the big city though. He's not actually officially a country boy,
but from a town of 8,500 people to Tokyo, it's a huge difference.
Wow.
And yeah, just I mean, once we got off the train at Yokosuka Station, like as soon as we stepped off, the three of us, we all kind of felt it, you know?
Yeah.
We all started like looking at each other and smiling, knowing that we were getting close to Dobuita Street.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, 1 second. There's an announcement going on.
Yeah, no worries. Let's listen.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's quite loud. So,
we can hear you okay. You can keep going.
For sure.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and then once we got to like Dobuita Street, it was just we were making connections in our heads, like, oh, like there's that area of the game, or there's that hill, or that looks like the street that Rio walks down on every morning.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is exactly what I wanted it to be. And at one point, I'll tell you the story really quick. We walked into a bar where sailors like to hang out, and if you're a Shenmue fan, you know that there's a point in Shenmue 1 where you're going around looking for sailors. Anyway, this bar is totally empty, and we sit down, and one of the guys in our group tells the bartender, because the bartender is like, "Oh, are you guys sailors? Like, is there a ship in?"
Right.
And he goes, "No. We're just fans of a game called Shenmue. We're here because of the game Shenmue."
Oh my gosh.
So we order our beers and we sit down, and we hear on the speakers, the guy had queued up the Shenmue soundtrack, and he starts playing.
That's hilarious.
Like the music in game, and I think we have that on camera. All of us just started freaking out as soon as he did that, and that was, I think, the highlight of my trip. It's just that moment right there.
You know what occurs to me too about what he's saying is so special is that, we were talking earlier about how unique the game itself was, but it's unique amongst even modern games in the sense that what other game do you go and then experience something, you know what I mean? Like this is a fictitious world that you lived in so much, and then you can go and actually, exist there.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And then for the local people too, they don't have to do that, Well, it sounds awesome.
We were talking earlier, and it's about virtual reality. It's sort of the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
It's reverse virtual reality.
It's reverse virtual reality.
Yeah, it was virtual, and now
it's almost
real.
like you put the goggles on
Yeah.
for a new game, and by what you're describing, it sounds like back then, 14 years ago, whenever it was they released Shenmue 2, it seems like they did a pretty good job of simulating the world you walked into for real.
They definitely did, right down to because in Yokosuka there's an American military base, and you kind of feel that tension between the American Navy and the local Japanese public, and that was something in Shenmue 1, that there was these sailors hanging around. And as soon as I got to Yokosuka and I saw that dynamic, I got it. Like I understood why that game took place in Yokosuka, why the power dynamic was the way it was. It was just, it was an experience that really did just kind of like change my perspective on, why I love this game. It kind of just solidified that even more.
So one of the highlights has to have been meeting Yu Suzuki. What is he like as a person? He seems like a really humble guy. Oh, look.
Oh, yeah. He is.
So he is what he seems then. Excuse me.
Yes. Yes. Very much. He's really polite, and one of the things that shocked me was that he was very keen and eager to just show us a lot of cool stuff.
Nice. Like
when we met him, I would be a little more reserved on like what he can and cannot reveal. And I even think some of his colleagues were a little like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't just." But
it's his passion,
he was quick.
Right?
He's like, "Oh, come check this out. Let me show you this. You might like to see this."
Yeah.
So I feel very, very lucky to have been a part of that experience.
And we hear stories over here, how a lot of these game makers are kind of treated like gods over there. I mean, that's not the right word to use, but that's how we've heard it sometimes.
No, that's a very correct word to use.
Is that true?
Yes, especially in the late 80s and early 90s. In fact, yesterday I did an interview with a guy named Ryoichi who has worked in the gaming industry for a really long time. And we basically talked about Yu Suzuki's career and his reputation. And he said, like, there was a time when Afterburner and Hang On, those were the games that everybody knew. And Yu Suzuki his name became synonymous with quality. Mm-hmm. Like, you saw the Yu Suzuki logo, you're like, this is going to be a great game. Like, he does not compromise.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about how, the Japanese legends back in the arcade days and the JRPG days before Western gaming blew up the way it did, the Japanese gaming giants were like revered amongst the community.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. I noticed, and you've probably, obviously that same attention to detail is being put into the new Shenmue 3, and you've maybe had a little peek under the curtain a little bit there without giving any spoilers away.
Without giving anything away, all I could say is that we've seen something, and it exceeded my expectations. Any worries I had went out the door. So if you're a fan and you're watching this podcast, just know that when the time finally comes that that's released to the public, I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
Amazing.
Cool, man.
Yep. Well, Adam, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. Unless you've got anything else that you want to let us know on this first episode of Chasing Shenmue?
No, I mean, just follow the Facebook page and all those social media things. But I just want to say, if you ever get the chance to come to Japan, it's a really awesome place.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I think all of us are really, really envious of you right now.
And we had originally hoped to be able to go, but there's just too much going on here.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's good that you're not. I mean, obviously you're shooting lots of stuff with the dock, and I know you took a stripped down gear package, but it's actually great that you can just go and experience that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's great. And there'll be another time where we go with
it's a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah, reconnaissance mission.
Yeah, I like to say I'm laying the groundwork for a future mission.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I think that's totally the intent here. We definitely intend on going back, and we're very excited to join you, Adam. And you can, you know what, I was nervous to go to Japan on my own for the first time. Now we've got an expert, part of the team, and he can guide us, and he knows where we're going.
I'm a pro.
And he can
you
tell
guys
us
are in safe hands.
where to eat, everything.
All that kind of stuff.
I'm not a big fan of fish, so.
No, that's cool. And so if you want to know more about the documentary, you can check out fopop.com. There's a Facebook page, isn't there, Adam? What's the...
Yep, facebook.com/Shenmue documentary.
And then, I've been checking out some of the Facebook videos you've been posting. It makes me think you're almost emulating the game a little bit. Some of the videos you've been shooting and putting on Facebook. Would that be true?
Yes, yeah. I did a few things just for fun when we got to our real camp here.
Nice.
Looks like he's trying to recreate
Easter eggs.
a few things. Yeah. So if you're a Shenmue fan, definitely check out the Facebook page and stay in touch with Adam.
And are we definitivefilms.com?
Definitivefilms.com will take you there as well.
Yeah, and that'll give you all of our projects, as will Fopop.
And I will say this is kind of the first, this being the first episode of Chasing Shenmue, we're really about to ramp things up of all things with all things Shenmue.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for Adam to shoot some stuff here, and we've shot a ton more interviews since that first teaser that you saw almost a year ago, or I guess a year ago now.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm really keen to start showing the stuff that I've shot here. I've done a ton of stuff I just want to show.
We can't wait to see it too, Adam.
Yeah.
So, just look for a regular podcast like this starting to come out, and, we'll talk about the documentary, yes, but more things, all things Shenmue. This is going to be your place to come, and Adam will more than likely always be your host and not these two guys here that are tired from working all day.
Working hard.
It'll be the guy.
So we'll probably be wearing better T-shirts too.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely choose better. And I need a haircut.
Well, that's why I wore this shirt. If you want to get a close up there, Jeremy, I wore this shirt because S stands for what?
Shenmue.
There it is.
Shenmue, man. There we go.
All right, Adam. Well, we'll see you on Thursday, I guess, right?
Yeah, safe travels.
I'll see you guys when I'm home.
So, and maybe we'll do another one of these if there's something interesting you want to talk about, or maybe Rand wants to jump in on one too. So,
that's right.
Anyway, thanks for taking some time there tomorrow while we're here today.
Yeah, enjoy the future, Adam.
Enjoy.
All right, I'll see you guys in the past. Bye-bye.
Laters. And that's a wrap.